Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Rao, are you ready to give a technical debrief?
Yes, I am. Let me share my the link and the screen. Give me a second. All right, welcome to Community Update 169. In terms of the mainnet, basically the status remains the same as to what we are running on the mainnet, except that we are testing the 0.11 alpha 2 version with the block merge on one of the mainnet observer nodes. This is the process where this is the procedure that we typically go through. We first move any changes over to the observer nodes on the mainnet and run it for a while before we go to the before we change the validator nodes over. So that version 0.11 alpha 2 has been running on the testnet for a while. Separately, we now have the testnet 2 also running the 0.11 alpha 2. So actually this we're setting up is not correct. Sorry for that typo over there. We already have that, and we have been running some performance numbers on that, and I'll speak to that in just a minute. So what should be the other thing I want to mention here about as we speak about the different networks is the epoch change is coming up tomorrow, and we actually slowed down the mainnet a little bit because it was going to be middle of the night tonight. So just so that the team doesn't have to stay through the night, we added some delay in the mainnet so that they can work on it tomorrow during the daytime hours. I will show you the rev define, what that looks like, so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, actually this is the graph I'm looking for. So as you can see, so it's kind of running around this 2150-ish number until yesterday, and then with our new delay, the deploys per day has gone down because we slowed down the network. But so that issue will be, once we are done with the epoch change, that should go back to normal. Getting back to my update screen here, our debrief update screen. So we have been running 0.11 or alpha 2 with the 0.99 synchrony constraint, and it is basically the leaderful block merge version. We have some very preliminary numbers. There are a lot of caveats to these numbers, and I'll speak to what those are. We're running it on testnet 2 with 5 nodes. And what we're seeing as of right now is a 7x to 10x improvement relative to the speed on the mainnet that you are used to. Currently on the mainnet, before the delay that we introduced yesterday, it was taking about 41 seconds per block on the mainnet, and the 0.11 alpha 2 version is giving about 4 to 6 seconds per block on the testnet 2 with 5 nodes. Now, the reason there's a variation between 4 to 6 is that the 4 number is when we are running all the nodes as independent hosts, versus when we pack more nodes onto a single host, we're seeing slightly longer numbers over there. Now, this is without the synchrony constraint being loosened to 0.67, which is one of the things we'll be doing. And this is without the channels map being removed, which is a hard fork change, as we mentioned many times. So all of those things should improve the performance further. But basically what we are doing is we've started to collect the performance data. Gurinder is in the middle of that, and probably next week he will present the first set of preliminary performance data where we can show what happens when you, instead of running 5 nodes, if you're running 10 or 15 or 20 nodes, how does the performance change? Because that's one of the points we're looking at in terms of horizontal scalability. So we will be running those numbers on testnet 2 over the next week, and we will have one set presented next week. And then as the team works through the other optimizations on the block merge, like removing the channels map and all of that, we will be presenting more of that data over the next few weeks. We also don't know, like right now we're doing these tests when I say 4 to 6 seconds. Those tests are based on, just for us to quickly get to numbers, we're using either 100 blocks or 200 blocks in each test. Now that may not be entirely representative if you have like a huge number of blocks in the database. So some of the tests we want to run are with the larger number of blocks, at least several thousand. We may not be able to get to hundreds of thousands on the testnet because it'll take a while to get there. So it's not really efficient for the performance numbers data collection. But whatever number of blocks we may be able to do, let's say within a day or something like that, we will keep running those into as many large number of blocks to see how all of that accumulation of data and accumulation of number of blocks, if it has any bearing on the performance. So all those variations some of those variations are listed in this third bullet here. Leaderless 0.7 synchrony constraint, removing channels map, varying the number of nodes, varying the number of blocks, and also varying the machine resources. For example, giving more CPU and more memory, as well as varying the network distribution. Right now we're running the tests, everything in the same data center. And we want to see if we distribute the nodes across the data centers, what does that look like? So that we have a realistic set of data on the performance. So that's a part of the focus for the next week and beyond. And we're still working on moving the infrastructure over to the new machines. That's another thing that's going on. So while we're on the matter of block merge, so all these optimizations that I talk about here, NetZipper and Tomislav are continuing to work on those. And as they go through that, Tomislav is also identifying any additional items that we need to take care of that would be suitable or that hard fork changes that we need to do along the way. So that's another activity that's going on. Separately, for the first hard fork, Will has the reporting program ready, and he's running it and to test the balances, and we'll be doing this a few times because when we do the first hard fork, the state of the mainnet will not be copied over, only just the balances will be copied over. Right now, though, that program is running very slow, so Gurinder and Will are working to troubleshoot that, perhaps giving some resources, more resources on that machine may help, but there might also be something that could be done to optimize the code itself because it is taking a while. So that's another activity that's going on, is the getting ready for the balances only hard fork, which is the first hard fork, as we collect items for the second hard fork and beyond. So that's, I think, primarily the tech update. Let me see if there's anything else I should be speaking to. Yeah, I think that's the tech update for now. Are there any questions on any of this? All right, over to you, Greg.
Thank you, Raul. And yeah, this is great work. I'm really, really excited about how things are proceeding. Daryl, are you ready for the week in review?
Yep, sure. Hey, everybody. Here's the week in review for Thursday, April 22nd to today, April 28th. Last Thursday at the Governance Committee, we discussed RGov and RDev developments. In the DApp Developer Working Group, they created demo video for the Liquid Democracy. On Friday in the Climate Coordination RCast, we discussed Earth Day, life fleeing the equator, the massive phase shift as the U.S. Miners Union backs the shift from coal, music climate activism, women blockchain leaders, and YouTube is carefully watching social tokens and the creator economy. And you can check that out at blog.rchain.coop. Also on Monday in the Casper Stand-Up, this week's Casper Stand-Up covered some OSLF developments and briefly described the linear algebra calculations used in an MPC in the head ZK protocol. Also on Tuesday in the RChain education call, live coding for the WANA app. Also yesterday at the communications working group, we discussed the process and further plans for the PR videos, the new material for the blog in the recent AMA transcripts, and the 2 articles by community member Dubravko Golub. Thank you so much for these articles. They're awesome. You can check them out at blog.rchain.coop. We also discussed joining the Crypto Climate Accord, did some slogan brainstorming, and Raphael's new article where he compares RChain's tech with EOS, Ethereum, and Cardano. Also yesterday in the DApp Developer Working Group, worked on group membership Roland contracts and discussed RGov user interface framework. And this morning in the RChain Active Member Hangout, Steve showed what he's been working on with the explainer videos. We discussed block merge and external validators and exchanges. Raphael discussed how he was kicked from a Likey forum after he brought up RChain as a solution. I brought up some thoughts about VR and Earth 2.0 and Oculus and Facebook and where things might be going in the world of VR. And that brings us to now.
Thanks very much. Any questions for Daryl?
Yeah, I was wondering, what do you mean Likey for? Is that the Lika, the exchange guys, or who are you talking about?
Oh, it's just that so I tried to advertise RChain on the main Telegram channel a few months ago, but I guess they receive hundreds of requests like this one, so I was banned. So it was funny.
Okay. But because I think, yeah, that's fine. I was curious. Thank you.
Okay, the board had some very interesting discussions, which I can't talk about here, but I will talk about on the Friday call. So for those of you who are interested in what's going on there, please join us on the closed door session on Friday. Likewise, there have been some interesting development, nice development on the hardware acceleration paths, which I'm happy to talk about on the Friday call. Basically what that means is all the rest of the topics, unless I'm missing something, are all sort of not for public consumption, but are good and fun to talk about on the Friday call. Did I miss anything? Ian, Rao, Daryl, Steve?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I just want to do another shout out to Dubravko. Thanks so much for those articles. They're awesome.
I really enjoyed Raf's article as well. Nicely done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was fantastic.
So as members, if you want, you can go find the tweets where those articles have been mentioned and like them and retweet them. That's a way to spread the word about RChain. So please do that. And with that, unless there are any questions or comments from the community, I think we can yield back the bulk of the time for this week's call.
Yeah, I just want to say to both Raphael and Dubravko, go ahead, feel free to put them in the RChain Reddit also, your article links.
Actually, you reminded me, we are starting a new channel on Discord, and this will be linked also to our blog and to tweets and other social media. Lilia has, over the last couple of years, been sending me very interesting articles to read. And so it occurred to me that we should just have a channel called Lilia's List, where people can pick up on the articles that Lilia has been finding. And she finds them not just about blockchain, but also about co-ops and social issues, and such as the social issues around COVID passport. So I thought it would be very useful for the community to kind of see all the different ways that RChain might connect with the outside world, and it's very useful to have Lilia's perspective. So we'll be starting up that channel as well. Thank you very much, Lilia, for your continued hard work, and support.
Thank you, Greg. And actually, anyone is welcome to share any articles the community comes across and they find it worth reading. They're welcome to share in the channel.
Hooray! Okay. Unless there are any other questions, thanks to all. Please stay safe, and we'll see you on the other side.
Bye all.